Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing a Pokemon that really core broke the Great League meta that I was seeing, and I had really nice results with, and that is Ice Fang Hippowdon. Ice is a really nice typing offensively in the Great League meta. There's a lot of teams weak to it, but the big issue is that being an Ice type is a very terrible thing. Ice is an atrocious typing defensively, so if you have an Ice type on the team, you're opening yourself up to a ton of extra weaknesses. But this is where I thought Ice Fang Hippowdon could be interesting. It's a way to get ice damage on a team without yourself being an Ice type. I do want to give a brief shout out to Chillis FM, as I did see him testing Ice Fang Hippowdon as well. Now, when I was trying to find a team to pair on Ice Fang Hippowdon, the logical choice for me was non-Shadow Feraligatr. It added a bit of bulk to the team, and Feraligatr could cover the Pokemon that Ice Fang Hippowdon would struggle against. After testing a few different Pokemon as the closer, I settled on a non-Shadow Empoleon. After accidentally playing a game against ELO where I had Steel Wing on my Empoleon, I TM'd over to the correct fast move, which was Metal Sound, and from there the team took off. I ended up having 4 4-1 sets. Now, an important disclaimer before we get into the battles, I don't think this is a team that would work at every ELO range. I was just seeing a lot of Stunfisk plus Flying Cores, just a lot of teams disrespecting Ice in general, and this team felt very well positioned to handle those team compositions. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and we pick up an interesting lead, leading Hippowdon into Bullet Seed Credilli. Opponent safe switches into Blastoise, and they so far are extremely ABA weak to Empoleon. I do have a Shadow Empoleon as well, but I decided on the non-Shadow specifically because it does have a better matchup against Scizor. And obviously if I'm on Ice Fang on Hippowdon, Hippowdon's going to struggle quite a bit in that matchup. Blastoise is going to return fire with another Hydro Cannon, and this Drill Peck is going to be getting them extremely low. The question is, will it put it into Metal Sound farm down range? I think in hindsight, I could have Metal Sounded down, but I didn't want to risk it. Blastoise is very bulky, so I end up sniping with the Shadow Claws on Feraligatr. Feraligatr going to be immediately put under a lot of pressure as Credilli does go for the Grass Knot. I farm up to the Ice Beam, and I will bait with the Hydro Cannon. The Hydro Cannon bait does get called. Nice bait call from my opponent, and now I'm down 2 shields to 0. They're going to go for the Grass Knot in the back. They have Shadow Talonflame, but I have energy everywhere. Talonflame really not going to appreciate the Feraligatr, as Feraligatr is going to make it to Hydro Cannon number 2. My opponent's only plays to anticipate the combo play with the Weather Ball, so I just stay in, they try and anticipate the combo play, and now I can just win this game. As Fly will land, taking the knockout, but in comes Hippowdon. We have so much loaded energy. Weather Ball, it's double super effective, picking up the one-hit KO. Back in comes Credilli, I get the farm down, and take the win. Oh my goodness, what a lead in the next match, as I end up leading Hippowdon into Charjabug. But my opponent's Furret safe switch could prove to be a little bit of a problem. Furret is really good at boosting itself up with Trailblaze, and if my opponent is able to flip switch, then my Feraligatr would get crushed by the Charjabug. They land the Trailblaze, boosting up their damage. I go for the Hydro Cannon, and I don't see a sneak, which means my opponent went for the CMP tie. I'm a bit surprised that they didn't end up making a play for switch advantage, but if they didn't, that could mean that they're core broken by the Hippowdon. And the fact that they're staying in now with a Charjabug to land an X-Scissor does make me believe that Hippowdon should be pretty good against what they have in the back. I know that a Weather Ball Rock will not knock out from here, but it will do a lot of damage, and getting chip damage onto this Charjabug will be very valuable. Now, I'm just going to continue to farm because I don't know what's in back, but I think I'm going to want Hippowdon energy. There's the switch. It's going to be a Shadow Marowak in the back, so a Pokemon that is not a big fan of taking Ice Fangs. Marowak is going to land in the Bone Club, and they are going to get the full farm down here, as I will fall just short, 1 turn away from this Hydro Cannon. So the Hydro Cannon will be shielded, and there is the farm down. If I manage energy well with Hippowdon, I'm going to win this game. So I will put up the shield. I'm going to throw 1 and the Scorching Sands. There's the switch into Charjabug, but I'm able to throw the correct move. It's Weather Ball Rock that's going to land, taking the knockout. In comes Marowak, and Hippowdon standing strong, getting to the Scorching Sands, delivering the knockout, and securing the win. We move to the next match, picking up a pretty nice lead Hippowdon into Guzzlord. Now, Guzzlord will not appreciate Ice Fangs by any means. Opponent is going to safe switch to Shadow Scizor. I'm going to stay in this matchup, fire off the Weather Ball Rock, as Scizor will basically always shield everything. Now, one thing that I really like about Empoleon is it is so incredibly strong into Scizor. Empoleon is hard carried by its defensive typing. Steel plus water has incredible synergy, and the double resist to bullet punches means that Scizor is very rarely ever able to farm down. Scizor going to get hit with the Hydro Cannon, that's going to land, taking the knockout, and back in comes the Guzzlord. Guzzlord going to lose quite a bit of HP to this Drill Peck. Drill Peck obviously did get buffed this season, and Guzzlord is not a big fan. A very precise overfarm by my opponent, maximizing their energy, but not letting Empoleon get to Drill Peck number 2. Back in comes Hippowdon. Hippowdon immediately going to be met with a Brutal Swing. What are they going to have in the back? It's Talonflame, and unfortunately in this game, I just won off of alignment. Alignment was exceedingly favorable here. They're going to go for the fly, but Feraligatr is up enough energy that I'll always be able to make 2 Hydro Cannons before they can get their second fly. Hydro Cannon is going to land, taking the knockout. Back in comes the Guzzlord, and this will be game over. Hydro Cannon does get shielded by the Guzzlord, but there's just no way forward, so Guzzlord is going to resign the match. We move to the next match, and we pick up a pretty nice lead Hippowdon into Galarian Moltres. Galarian Moltres is not switching out, and this is a pretty good sign for me. They're not in Weather Ball Rock range yet, so I farm until the Weather Ball Rock will knock out, but my opponent is actually going to CMP time me here. I'm fully expecting that they're just going to let this go and then send in whatever they have in the back, so when they shield, that's a bit of a surprise. I outpace in this matchup. I am straight 6 to Weather Ball, so now I get to fire off this Weather Ball. They're going to be no shielding, and out comes Marowak. Marowak taking big damage from the Ice Fangs, and I make it to the Scorching Sands. So far, their team is double weak to ice. Scorching Sands connects, and that is devastating. In comes Feraligatr. In the back is Credilli, and they were triple weak to ice. I was seeing teams like this yesterday, and that's part of why I wanted to try an ice type. But I really felt like I couldn't justify putting an ice type on the team because of the insane weaknesses that it provides, and that's kind of where the Ice Fang Hippowdon idea came from. But unfortunately for my opponent, there was just nothing they could really do there. Tricky lead in the next match, as Hippowdon is going to have a losing matchup into Galarian Corsola. So I save switch into Feraligatr. A lot of teams don't have a clear answer to a Feraligatr save switch. I'm able to land a Hydro Cannon, and that is very valuable damage. Because I'm the non-Shadow Feraligatr, I do not have to put up a shield. The Nightshade is going to land, opponent going to send out Corviknight, and Corviknight, I'm going to be very happy if I land this Hydro Cannon, as that's going to make my life a lot easier. On top of that, Corviknight, they're going to have to throw, as Feraligatr, it would have survived the sand attacks to make the Hydro Cannon. Air Cutter is going to land, no boost comes through, and now out comes Hippowdon. If I can correctly shield a payback, I should be able to get a full Ice Fang down. I'm going to exit with a monster amount of energy, and that can threaten the Corsola. They realize they're in trouble, they're going to pivot out, in comes the Corsola, and Corsola not going to appreciate the Scorching Sands. I go for a slight undercharge, that's going to leave them at 1 HP, so I get 1 extra Ice Fang. In the back is Florges, and this game is over, as now I can just bring in Empoleon. If they go for the Trailblazes, they're going to take a ton of damage, and if they go for the Chilling Water to debuff my attack, then they're not really doing any damage to me. So unfortunately for Florges, this is kind of a lose-lose situation, where it doesn't really matter what move they throw. The Metal Sounds still add up, the Florges is already approaching half HP, and a charge attack hasn't even landed yet. Now I get to go for yet another Hydro Cannon on the CMP die. Hydro Cannon is going to be shielded, and I still just never have to shield the Empoleon, as even a Trailblaze would not knock out. It is going to be yet another Chilling Water. In comes Hippowdon, and Hippowdon's going to make it to the back-to-back Weather Balls. Weather Ball lands, picking up the knockout. All that's left in the back is that low health Corviknight. Corviknight did have an Air Cutter, but I'm out of Air Cutter range. Weather Ball takes the knockout and wins the game. Hippowdon into Gyarados in the next match, and I really wish that I had Thunderfang. They should throw the Aqua Tail right before I get my move, so I throw 5 Ice Fangs and then switch into the Feraligatr to catch the Aqua Tail and get a Shadow Claw head start. Out comes Florges, and this is where the head start on the Feraligatr is incredibly good for me, because I get to land a Hydro Cannon before they can boost themselves up with Trailblaze. They're always going to go for the Trailblaze, and I'm more than happy to put up the shield. My thought process here is to play the ones, and then I can Shadow Claw them into a range where after they knock out the Feraligatr, I can Ice Fang down. But my opponent, they're too smart. They see through it, and they're just going to take the shield advantage for the Gyarados. I cannot let Gyarados go for a 1-shield farm down, as the energy would just overwhelm my team. So I'm forced to pivot out, and in comes Empoleon. Empoleon, it can survive the Crunch, but it's going to hurt. Crunch is going to land. They get the debuff as well. There's the switch into Galarian Corsola, and I'm able to react in time to still throw on perfect timing with the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon is going to land. I'm going to get to Hydro Cannon number 2. I'm pretty low on health, so I'm only going to get one more metal sound. But honestly, Empoleon did its job. It absorbed a crunch, it got big damage onto this Corsola, and now Hippowdon gets to hit the field. Hippowdon gets all this energy, and now it's going to be a race. Hippowdon versus Gyarados. If Gyarados is one off the back-to-back Aqua Tails, they win this game. If not, then I've pulled off the win. I click the Weather Ball Rock, having lost count on the Gyarados, hoping they don't have enough, and they do not. They realized I have the back-to-back, so they're just going to let that through. Picking up a tricky lead in the next match, Hippowdon into Shadow Annihilate. This entire team is going to struggle into fighters. It's one of the reasons why, even though the team worked amazingly for me today, I don't recommend the team for others to try, just because if you see a lot of fighters, it's going to be a really uphill battle. The Scorching Sands is going to land. I do get a Scorching Sands debuff, which is very, very clutch, and now I send in Feraligatr. Opponent's going to go for the Rage Fist, boosting their attack back up, and I will get the farm down. So definitely a bit of good luck going my way, as Scorching Sands, I believe, is down to only 10%. Now I will fire off this Hydro Cannon. That's going to land, and that does some pretty nice damage. The nice thing here is, since I'm the non-Shadow Feraligatr, I do survive an Air Cutter. So Air Cutter is going to land, and I will go for the Hydro. Hydro will just about knock them out. Hydro is going to be shielded, and now it's time. In comes Empoleon, and I don't know what they had in back, but I assume it did not want to see water damage. Another really problematic lead in the next match, leading Hippowdon into Shadow Malamar. Shadow Malamar going to strike immediately, and I'm more than happy to let this go because Hippowdon does have some pretty okay bulk. This is a safe switch into Blastoise, and you know what is great at shutting down Blastoise energy? It's gonna be that Empoleon. So I bank a monster amount of energy on Hippowdon, and my opponent makes a very interesting play. They actually go for a Skull Bash on Blastoise. This means that my Drill Pecks, which normally do an okay amount of damage, are suddenly basically useless, as Blastoise, it's already very bulky, now feels like an unkillable monster. Blastoise, a Hydro Cannon will not knock out here. Will they go for a second Skull Bash? And they will. So now they are double boosted. My Shadow Claws, they look double resisted at this point. The Blastoise refusing to get knocked out, and I'm going to be shielding everything. There's the switch in the back. They have Corviknight, and having a very healthy Feraligatr will be very, very helpful for me, as Feraligatr will just get to throw Hydro Cannon after Hydro Cannon after Hydro Cannon. I'm going to be respecting the payback, trusting my opponent to not go for the bait, and thankfully they do full send. Considering all the energy that I have on the Hippowdon, I'm feeling very good about where I stand in this match. The Hydro is going to land. I'm going to make sure to massively overfarm with the Feraligatr and just really look to continue to ramp up this pressure. Hydro Cannon is going to land, taking the knockout. In comes Malamar. Malamar going to take a lot of damage from this Hydro. They have to put up the shield. They do just that. I throw one and I combo play with the Scorching Sands. They don't read the play. The Scorching Sands lands. That's too much damage. We get the Ice Fang down, and my opponent is going to resign the match. We've got a ferocious opponent in the next match as I queue into King IV, one of the legends of our game. Hippowdon into Credilli. I get super effective damage with Ice Fang, but typically Hippowdon can actually struggle in this matchup a little bit just because Grass Knot is going to do a massive amount of damage in return. I can survive a Grass Knot, but not particularly well. My plan here is just to play the ones and then look to aggressively send in Feraligatr. As Feraligatr, it's just basically uncounterable on the safe switch, I feel. Like, there's a few Pokemon like Fearow that can give it trouble, but man, is it so strong. I'm able to bait out a Gastrodon, and I have Empoleon in the back, so this is incredibly good news for me. I fire off the Hydro Cannon, that's gonna land big damage onto the Gastro. Gastro Body Slam, not gonna do a ton of damage to the Feraligatr, and I will be able to take the knockout with the Hydro Cannon. But I'm gonna go for an Undercharge. I'd love to leave it at 1 HP, and the Undercharge is perfect. I get a free Shadow Claw in exchange for taking no damage. So now I'm a bit closer to the move than I would have been. Out comes a Shadow Charizard, and this is going to be scary. I immediately pivot into the Empoleon. Hydro Cannon will force the shield, and this game could come down to a 50-50. He has enough energy for the Blast Burn. Do I respect it? I say no. It's the Blast Burn, and I get nuked. Now the question is, will he get the catch? He has so much energy on the Charizard. In comes Feraligatr, and he gets the catch. King IV, man, what a game. I was in the game because of the undercharge that I did against that Gastrodon, but he gets the catch. I made the prediction that he would think that I would overfarm and just stay in, but he gets it right, and unfortunately, I will lose that match. Very well played, the king. We move to the next match, seeing a Shadow Charizard once again, but this time it's the Shadow Shiny, and it's on Dragon Breath. The Weather Ball will always be shielded. After last game, I lost because I no-shielded, but I'm still gonna double down. It's the Air Cutter bait. They should throw the Air Cutter right before I get to the Weather Ball, so I switch and I get the catch onto Empoleon. We're off to a really nice start. We caught an Air Cutter, and we called a bait, but they get the boost. These Dragon Breaths are suddenly doing big damage to the Empoleon. I put up the shield as even a boosted Air Cutter would hurt quite a bit. I don't have a lot of fast move pressure, so my plan is simple. I'm gonna double shield and Metal Sound down. I'm hoping that my Empoleon energy will be able to get me shields back or big damage, and the moment they bring out Clodsire, I know I'm in business. Clodsire are gonna get rocked by Hydro Cannon. I can massively overfarm with the Empoleon, and Empoleon is gonna make it just shy of the back-to-back Hydros. They're going to put up the shield. I make it to yet another Hydro Cannon. What could they have in the back that is worse into Empoleon than a Clodsire? It's revealed. It's Cradilly, and Empoleon is just absolutely taking over this game. I know it's a Hippowdon feature, but Empoleon wanted its time in the spotlight. It just won a regional, and it basically won V3s to secure the win. Hopping into the final match, leading Hippowdon into Guzzlord. A pretty nice lead for the Hippowdon. Hippowdon dealing some pretty nice damage with the Ice Fangs, and I'm going to get the Scorching Sands before they get the move. I'm expecting they're going to be shielding if they're staying in, so it feels like a pretty safe Weather Ball bait, but they call it, and that is going to cost me, because now I lose the zero shields. An incredibly dumb bait. I got greedy, and it backfires in the worst way. If they have the Gastrodon in the back, I could be in some serious trouble. I have to hope that they do not, and they bring out a Confusion Cresselia. Oh my goodness. I actually don't know my Confusion Cresselia counts. So the moment I saw this, I got very, very nervous because Cresselia, it's a rare Pokemon that can actually absorb 2 Hydro Cannons neutrally. It is massively, massively bulky. The unfortunate thing for me is that I don't think that a Hydro Cannon will be enough to knock out here. Cresselia should be able to hang on. The Hydro is gonna land. My Metal Sounds just missed the knockout, and I figure they're at another Grass Knot, so I fire off this Hydro on Charge Attack priority. In the back is Shadow Talonflame, and I end up making a Hydro Cannon on damage registration error. Even if I didn't get that Hydro Cannon, I should have still been winning unless my opponent had an insanely high attack Shadow Talonflame, as Feraligatr is favored by several points in that CMP tie. But because we got the Hydro Cannon, it's definitely going to be a win, so my opponent is just going to be no-shielding that, and that's going to be game over. I had a ton of fun with this team today, as I know this is a league rotation day on the day that I am posting this video. The Great League will still be around, but it's going to turn to the Halloween Cup. And I do want to try out the Halloween Cup, so this will probably be the last Great League video for several days, because I do want to give the Halloween Cup a fair shake, because the Halloween Cup's been a really enjoyable meta in previous seasons. Now, obviously, we've had quite a lot of changes since. There's going to be Pokemon like Shadow Scizor that are way stronger than they've ever been, and it was already a Halloween Cup staple. So I'm optimistic that it will be a good meta. I'll probably go live on YouTube and Twitch when league rotation does occur to test out some Halloween Cup teams, see how they perform, because I am quite excited for the meta. But enough yapping about Halloween Cup. That's not what the video was about. The video was about the Hippowdon Great League team. I kind of just put it together to have something fun to run on the final day of the rotation, and it performed way better than I ever expected. As far as if people are looking to take this team and climb, I think the better team, if you're looking to gain ELO, would be the Zweilous team. As a Dark Dragon plus Scizor plus Gastrodon, I think, is an incredibly strong archetype that you can use to gain ELO, and will just be a lot more consistent across ELO brackets. As I use that team to climb from 2,500 back to 3,000 ELO during the 2 days of the Go Battle weekend, so I know that's a team that can work at every ELO bracket. Whereas this team was more so just a team that I wanted to run in the 2,900s and ended up climbing me back up to 3,100. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this, please do consider leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not. And an extra special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.